Hello friends, and welcome back to the second garden tour of the season. We are mid-July right now. I think it's the 14th, something like that, so almost mid-July. And I wanted to show you what changed in the garden in the last couple of weeks. We are going to start at the right side of the gate. The potatoes, as you can see, are starting to yellow and die back, and this is not because of disease. This is actually their natural cycle, so they're almost done and we'll be harvesting a lot of them soon. We'll talk about the tomatoes in a second, but the strawberries, so that's a ever-bearing patch of strawberries, and those are almost done for now. You have a few blooms still on the plants, you can see here. Okay. But the harvest has been smaller and smaller every day, and usually ever-bearing strawberries come to a lull in July, August, and they will pick up as the temperatures drops a little bit in September or end of August, depending on the weather we get. So we've harvested already more than 10 kilograms. I think we are at 11 now. So 11 kilograms for the season, which is really good. My goal was 10, and I've already done like, I don't know, something like 10 or 9 pints of strawberry jam, and we've had some fresh all throughout June and July. So we're really excited about that. I'm expanding the strawberries a little bit more next year, so that hopefully we are approaching the 30 kilograms mark, and that we can put some in the freezer to use in cobblers, cakes and all of that all throughout the year. So this is the biggest tomato row, and we have a mix of cherry and beef steak tomatoes, and I think I have a few pastes as well, and those are doing okay for the most part. We tend to focus more on the negative, so that's why I was going to say they're doing bad, but actually there's just those 3 plants that are starting to have blight. So I'm going to show you without touching them, because I don't want to. Oh, this is a pretty shot, but you don't see anything. Or maybe here. Oh no. Here? You see? Oh yeah. You see the spots, the brown spots on this and the yellowing? Those are early signs of blight, or maybe another fungal disease, but I think it might be blight. And so that means that those plants are getting a little sickly. I only have 3, those 3 here, that are sick and starting to peter out. So we'll see. I'm monitoring them very closely, and I will not hesitate to just snip them off at the base and get rid of them completely if I feel like this is going out of control, because obviously blight or any fungal disease, it spreads by spores, and so if you have a plant that is hosting spores, well, it can splash or splatter on the other ones. So I will not hesitate to sacrifice 3 to save the 39 others. So this row has changed since the first garden tour. I've harvested the potato with the magnificent help of my sister and my grandma. So we've harvested that, and I've planted a mixture of borlodo beans right there. It's a dry bean. Well, you can eat it not dry, you can eat it let it just develop the bean seed and eat it fresh, or you can let it dry all the way and eat it as dried beans. And then you have some sunflower in the middle. You can see it's pretty spotty because I've sown this patch when it was very hot, and even though I've watered it all day, not all day every day, but I've watered it morning and night while the seeds were germinating, I have some spots that are empty, and I'm going to reseed some sunflower where there's no bean seed coming up. And I also have some sprouted beans that just have been snipped to the ground, and this is the crow, or another type of bird, but usually the crow in my area. They're very smart, and they like some seeds and they like some seedlings, so they just pick and choose, and yeah, so that's their doing. Then the potato, the 2 potato row behind are starting to die back, like the other one I showed you. You can see they're yellowing. Oh, I'll show you a close-up. You can't see really well here. And the corn, come on. The corn is looking so good. It's so big. Like, I can't stand next to it because this is in the middle of the row, but they're above my hips. So pretty big guys. And the pole beans that we've planted is developing its first true leaves right there. Over here. And then the squash for the Three Sisters garden has developed its first true leaves as well. So you can see that in a 2-week time, both of those have germinated and developed their first true leaves. So they're going, and it's gonna get faster and faster and faster. So I hope the popcorn will stay behind so that they don't tassel at the same time, and I can have one harvest of pure sweet corn and then one harvest of popcorn, and not having them cross-pollinate. So behind the corn, it's glorious. Behind the corn we have the potatoes, and so they're looking pretty rough. Some of them have a little bit of damage from probably blight or some kind of fungal disease, but they also are, because even the plants that are not discolorated by a fungal disease, you see they're becoming more yellow. And that's normal. You want your potatoes to die back naturally. It means that the skin on the potato is getting tougher, and so they will store, and they are not considered as new potato anymore. But also potatoes, even if you let the plants die back all the way, you still want to cure them the exact same way you're curing onion, garlic, or any type of allium. You want to lay them single layer in a dry, cool environment with no direct light, and let them cure for a week or so that the skin continues to harden, and then you can store them for an entire year. Those tomatoes are looking glorious. No signs of blight. And look at that. They are blushing. Oh, they're blushing. So they're they're gorgeous. Gorgeous. So we might have tomato in the next week or so, which is very exciting. And same thing, in transparency, we have biggest failure of this year. The okra is looking like nothing. It's not even like a finger high. Look at that. It's so small, so small. It's disgusting. I'm not sure it's gonna do anything, so yeah, that's a fail. But on a positive note, I don't know if you can see that tiny guy, but that's the ginger. So I have 3 coming out of the ground. Have the one over there. and the one right here. And yeah, I hope they're gonna do really well. I think I've put them in the ground a little too late, so that's my fault, but we'll be harvesting this either way, because ginger, it's kind of like potatoes. You can harvest it and then have new ginger, so with less of a hard skin but still edible, or you can let it, you know, get the plant very big and then die back, and then you have ginger. Oh, had a fly on myself. And so you can let it grow, let the plant die back, and then you can have ginger with a very hard skin that will store for way longer. But still, if I can harvest a few ginger, it will be fun. And then next year I'll plant way more, and I plant it earlier so that we'll have a better harvest, and I'll let the plant grow and develop way more before the fall and before we harvest it, because ginger is frost tender. The dahlia row is looking good. Some of them are on their way to make big sturdy plant, like this one. You see the stalk is pretty big. This one as well. I love the ones with dark leaf. It's so pretty. And then I have one that still hasn't come up. I think the bulb might be rotted. And then this one is also very pretty. It's kind of like emerald green, the leaves. Gorgeous. The what's it called? The sage we planted together is doing really well. And then some of them, like this one, is sending flowers, and the plant is tiny. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's because it's the first year, and I've put them in the ground fairly late for dahlia. It was mid-June, I think. So yeah, maybe they were a little stressed out. Or maybe those are dwarf varieties. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I've never thought of that. But maybe those two, because they're the only one doing it, maybe they're dwarf varieties. You have dwarf, smaller, compacted varieties of dahlia. And maybe that's what they are. Never occurred to me before, but yeah. So yeah, maybe they're dwarf dahlia, I'll check. But anyway, they all look healthy except for one that hasn't come up, but it happens with tubers, you know, and we've had a lot of rain as well, so they can rot away pretty easily. And then in the far back right corner we have two volunteer pumpkin, and obviously those two look 10,000 times better than any winter squash that I've planted, obviously. So yeah, I'm excited because those are the two that are actually looking good, and then there's nothing in that quadrant still. The grapes are looking good, and we've mulched around them with my grandma. The middle row here is looking good, and I've added a little bit of a bed, I don't know, 2 days ago. So 2 little pathway and a quite large bed in the middle. The honeyberry that we've planted is looking pretty good as well. It has sprung back, so I'm excited about that. And then the star of the show. Look at those! I'll have to put the variety on the screen, especially this one. Oh, a grasshopper. Especially this one, because it looks like a velvety caramel sauce. It is so pretty. This one is really pretty as well, but this one, oh, it's my favorite. So that's looking really nice. And then in this back quadrant, there's not much to see except for a little dog. Trompette. Trompette. Ça va? Yeah, she's doing her own thing. Destroying my crop. But yeah, there's not much to see. The potato, I might go and show you the healthy potatoes. The one that still hasn't died back, so that you can see the difference. So yeah, I might do that. I've talked and talked and talked about this one. It's too pretty. It's peppermint swirl and it's gorgeous. This one is a cactus dahlia, which I'm not a fan of usually. The color is pretty, but I don't like the shape of the leaves. Yeah, they kind of curl on themselves, and to me they look like they're lacking water. They know it's the shape of the leaf, not the leaf, the petal. But yeah, I like the dinner plate type better, or the pom-pom for that matter. So you can see here, those potato leaves are still bright green and beautiful, and actually some of them are just flowering. And so that means that those still have a long way to go. And those were planted, if I'm not mistaken, a month after the first round of potatoes. So they'll probably be ready end of August, something like that. Oh, we have a hunter on the loose. She heard me. Look at her. She's hunting crickets most of the time. Look at that paw. Focused. I'm not making fun of her. A little bit. T'as attrapé quelque chose? I don't... Oh. Did she? So that's what she does 50% of the time. The other 50% she sleeps. A happy dog. Anyway, back to the garden tour. The raspberries are starting to set loads of flowers, which is very fun. And for those, I have no idea the variety. And then, oh, even fruit. Even little fruits. And then I have one blackberry, one thornless blackberry, which is actually full of fruit. So that's very exciting. And that's kind of all that has changed in the back portion of the garden. Oh, that's not true. In that broken structure over there, we have some green beans that are producing like crazy, and you will see that soon, or you already have seen that, me harvesting a lot of them in a previous or in the next video. And also, we are very fortunate here because we have some wild thyme or creeping thyme everywhere in the garden. It's kind of the carpet that we have, and look, the bees adore it. So as long as it's blooming, I'm not really mowing because it's such a good forage for them. And it's also beautiful. Look at that. When you walk, it smells like thyme, and it looks so pretty with all of those little purple flowers. And so it's this area that has seen the most change in the last couple of weeks. This pumpkin is actually not doing too bad. It's a blue Hubbard and it's growing quite well. You have another sprout going that way, and I'm hoping to have some of those. Apparently they are very tasty. Then we have this dahlia, which I have no idea what this is, but soon we'll find out. The courgette have exploded with growth. We have so many in here, so you can see at least like 2 in this one. Yeah, so many, which is very fun. Those onions are the last onions left. Oh no, that's not true. I have a few behind me. I don't even know how many onions I have, but they are actually starting to die back. And the neck is softening. Not too much, but we're almost there. So I think those have another week and then it will be done. Those are my nemesis. The aubergines are looking quite bad. to be frank. They're yellowing and I still have 0 fruit on them, which is a little annoying. But the peppers, do you see the dragonfly? Oh no. It's too pretty. Oh. It's too pretty. Anyway, back to the garden tour. But the peppers are looking actually good. The sweet peppers. I don't know if you can see. Ooh, there's a little one in there. Oh, it's not focusing. Yeah, there's a little one in there, and most of them have fruits on them, which is very fun because sweet peppers are one of my favorite vegetables, and eating them hot from the sun directly into the garden, it's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm very excited to have a few on the plants. And right here you see in action the beauty of a trap crop in permaculture. The aphids are going onto this nasturtium instead of going onto my carrots or my green beans right there. And I don't mind the nasturtium being a host for a few aphids. If it gets out of control, I'll do something about it. But if you think about it, if you want pest control, natural pest control in your garden, you actually need the bugs to stay all season long so that the other bugs that eat them, mainly ladybugs, will stay all season long in your garden. Because if you eradicate all aphids from your garden, why would the ladybugs stay if they don't have food anymore? So that's why I really like to have trap crops. Usually nasturtium are one of the best trap crop you can put because they usually have either aphids or flea beetles or tons of other little guys that go right on them and attack them instead of your plants. And also it's a great way for your ladybugs to know where to go to have food. And then here, behind the big courgettes, we'll still have a row of onion and carrots. And the soya bean is actually putting on a good size. It has grown a lot, and you can try to see here, it's the first flowers forming. So that's exciting. The dahlia is still offering us such a show. I'm gonna go, oh, this pumpkin is actually looking really nice as well. I think this one is a butternut. In here, nothing has changed. Still some soya beans over there, and onions, and then carrots, a few fava beans that I'm leaving to harvest the seeds. I'm letting the seed pod dry, and it's the same thing with those radishes in the middle. I'm letting them dry to go to seed. And in here, a big courgette. And what's exciting is this, which is right now just producing so much food. We've been harvesting almost every day from this small row. It's not that big. We're harvesting almost every day. Hundreds and hundreds of grams of green beans, which is very exciting. The cucumbers are not fruiting just yet. I don't think they are. I see tiny fruits, but they're not quite well developed. So I think we still have a few weeks on those, which really shows you that we've had quite a cool early summer, because usually cucumbers are the first one to go, to die, to produce, and we still haven't had any cucumbers. So we still have a few weeks to wait, but they are actually growing quite well and developing nicely. So I'm hopeful we'll soon have cucumbers from the garden to eat. And sunflowers. Oh, we actually see the center of this one. So sunflowers shouldn't be too long before we can enjoy them. And so we still have a big courgette in here, full of fruits, and then some cherry tomatoes. And those are not ripening. I don't see any color, but a lot of green fruits. My third succession of bush beans is actually almost in flower, which is very fun. So I have this little patch right there. The kale is looking good. It's growing quite well. This one is actually almost harvestable, and I haven't seen any cabbage moth, none. So those are the little white butterfly that when you see them you're like, oh, cute white butterfly, and they're actually just laying larvae everywhere in your cabbages and then destroying them. But I haven't seen any this year, so I don't know, maybe it was too cold and then too hot and then too cold, or they just decided to leave me alone this year. But last year, oh, my cabbages got destroyed by flea beetles and by cabbage moth. This year I'm pretty lucky. And the rest of this row or garden bed is in transition. You have a few borlodo beans popping up and growing. You see your first set of trellis, a few cucumbers, a few patty pen squash. That's a patty pen squash. And you can recognize it from a courgette because this one has round leaves, kind of like a winter squash. And then behind that, in this row, this has changed since the last garden tour 2 weeks ago because I've sown cowpeas or green beans depending on which side of the garden row instead of the onions. There's actually a few left that were not ready, but most of them were, and you can see the cowpeas are sprouting. There's a few over that as well. And there's still some lettuces here and there. And same thing, you can see how wet we've been, and we still have had loads of rain because those lettuces, of course some of them are going to seed, but a lot of them are still looking really good. Another huge courgette, and one of the main changes that I've mulched the area, so those were not mulched last time because they were too small to be mulched. So I've mulched all the areas that have plants that have sized up now, and those are my second round of courgette, and they're maybe planted a little too close together. And when I say maybe, it's probably. And one of the biggest change you can see, no, you can't see with this disgusting netting. Oh, that is so exciting. We have blueberries. I'm not gonna eat all 3 of them. I'm gonna at least leave one for Romain, but you know, I might have 2. And those are so good. They're so tasty. So tasty. I've never had freshly picked blueberry before. If you don't know, I live in France and blueberries are not that popular. We have wild blueberries in mountain area, but actual like big blueberries like this, it's not a popular crop where I live. So, oh, wait, we have a visitor. Look at her. So that's my cat, Dominique. She is the hunter of the family. She's so good. I was trying to poison the field rat because I have a field rat problem in the garden, but she is taking care of it way better than any poison can because she was built for this. Dominique? Dominique? Well, she doesn't care. Doesn't care about me. She has something else to do. She's so pretty. Bonjour chaton. Tu viens? Oh, bébé. Distraction. I love seeing them, so the cat and the dog, do what they're supposed to do. I adore seeing my cat and my dog doing cat and dog things. Dominique, we've had her for 5.5 years now, and we adopted her when we were still living in a small apartment in Paris. And seeing the change in her character, seeing her just thrive here on the farm has been amazing. Amazing. And I'm actually quite glad that she's hunting the field rats because she's pretty much leaving the birds alone. I was a little afraid that she would kill a lot of birds. And actually, like, we've been here for 2 seasons now and she only killed 3 birds. So that's not a lot. I don't even know how many field rats she killed, but probably like 20 so far. So back to the blueberries. So here we don't really farm for those. It's becoming more and more popular, but it hasn't been for the majority of my life. So I've never had the chance to go to like a pick farm or something like that and pick my own blueberries. And I've never grown blueberries, so being able to eat them freshly picked is just mind-blowing. And yes, I ate 3 of them. And the lavenders, because I have plenty in the garden, have been such a refuge for the bees. They're everywhere on those plants. You can see one over there, which is so nice to see. So put perennial crop, perennial flower that do well in your environment so that you're never short of pollinator in your garden. And then those 2 beds, they haven't changed much. We've harvested a few cabbages, you can see holes in here. The broccoli are hanging on, so maybe, you know, they'll do something. And the carrots are actually looking really good. We've been harvesting a few, and I'm gonna try to pull one to show you. Oh no, am I gonna break this one on camera? I did, oh no. But you can see it here, we're gonna take it out. So I needed my 2 hands to get it out of the ground, but look at that. It's an actual size carrot. It's the first time I'm growing carrots, so I'm pretty happy about that. And we've been eating those as well. It's been in our rotation in the last couple of weeks, so that's super exciting. So right now from the garden we're eating new potatoes, onions, garlic, green beans, courgette, carrots, still salad greens. I'll be harvesting a few kale leaves today, and yeah, and obviously loads of herbs and cabbages as well. We've had a lot of coleslaw in the last couple of weeks. So we are just basically waiting on the tomatoes. It's the last main crop that we are waiting on for the summer garden to be complete. And so that's gonna be it, friends, for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this quicker garden tour and seeing what's coming, what's blooming, what's fruiting right now. I am going to film them, the garden tours, every 2 weeks from now on, and I think I'll keep that rhythm until late September when really the season starts to peter down. I hope you're doing well, I hope your season is doing well, and subscribe so that you don't miss any other video, and you will see me in the next one. Bye.